Good morning, everybody. It's another episode of the Keep Going podcast, Athletes Shining a Light on Mental Health. I'm fired up. David Mitchell is back in the building, and I got CJ Deshazer by popular demand, I might add. CJ, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
How we living? Of course, man. How's your morning going?
It's going well. It's going on.
Good. Dave, what's up with you, man? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. We got a special guest on here today. I'm fired up. So
yeah, man. Anytime we
good
get
one.
Elk Grove, Conant, and Barrington all on the same podcast, that's a good podcast in my book. But CJ, obviously, we've been working together for the last year now, man. I know you got a great story. I want to start unlayering that. Talk about what mental health means to you, man.
I think it just means like checking on myself and making sure I'm good all the time, man. Like for me, I think I've been challenged in ways that I think I've always been prepared for from like a young age. So like just having my family and like my dad, like the way that he kind of forced me to always just check on myself, dude, and like make sure I'm good and get through things the way that I should. You know what I'm saying? So
I do.
I think I've always been the same way as far as like tackling issues and like tackling problems and just like the way that I approach things. It's always been the same for me.
I like that, man. I kind of want to unpack that too, because obviously knowing your family and the way you talk about your pops, that's a big thing. Did that start at an early age for you? Like, is that an early age thing for your dad?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always, I grew up in the city, like, and I moved out to the burbs pretty early, and I think that was a big change for me. And like, as far as like meeting new people and being comfortable and things like that, like, I think he's always challenged me to just attack everything the same way. Like,
I love that.
When things aren't going great or it's not the best, like it could always be worse. I think that's something he's, always told me, like it could always be worse than what it is. So
yeah,
just attack everything with like a positive attitude and just understand it might not be great now, but it might be better in the future if you attack it that way.
I like that, man. And Dave, you're a big perspective guy. Like,
Yeah.
I think coming, Dave left his whole life out in Barrington area and headed out to Colorado basically by himself. You talk about perspective, Dave. Talk about what that means to you as well.
Yeah, I think perspective is just huge to have. Like no matter what you're going through, like you said, CJ, somebody else is probably going through something worse than you. And going into that, like, okay, maybe going into work today, I don't feel like working today, but I'm still going to try to have a positive impact on my coworkers because I don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
Right. That's strong.
Influence on your life and others' life is just powerful to have, I think.
I agree. I think it starts at the top, boys. I think, mom and dad, I talk about my mom all the time. Like, it's where you come from to kind of build those values, but you also have to put those values in action. So CJ, obviously we talked about the mental health side and how baseball kind of plays a role. Early on, man, when did you get the bat in your hand? When did baseball really become a focus for you?
I think baseball really became a focus after high school.
Yeah.
Like baseball was a focus in high school. It was a focus at a young age. Like, all of that was very important to me, and I've done it for a long time. I think just when I got to college, it became real. Like, it was one of those things where it was like, you got all these responsibilities plus playing the sport that you love, and like it's not easy to do both. It's really not. So I think like when college came around and things got more serious, that's when baseball became real for me, and that's when I put in like the most I ever have.
Yeah, man. And I know for myself and Dave being college ball players, like that comes with a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations. How did you deal with that when you were going through that process, a high school senior, college player?
No, I think it was a lot of dad, like, calling him and getting his opinion and just like, hey, like this is how I'm feeling. Is it valid? Is it not valid? Like, is
right.
am I right for approaching something this way? You know, and he's experienced a lot more than I have. And I think it's him. I think it's teammates. I think it's coaches. I think it's, you know, the people that you have around you that you can trust to be like, hey, like, I'm not feeling great about this. And they can give you an honest response and like open response without putting you down or hurting, the ego or feelings that you might have towards something, and like just tell you the truth. I think that's the biggest thing for me. Like I've always had people around me that will tell me the truth and tell me exactly how it is, and I think that's always helped me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Dave here in a second. I think that loving on your people piece, like that support group piece, is so big. But like, you could also have a support group that just tells you what you want to freaking hear all the time.
Yes.
And that's not benefiting you either. So there's got to be that fine line of tough love and getting that feedback. A lot of my players don't get the truth, and all of a sudden they wake up 15, 16, 17 years old and they haven't learned anything, and they've always been kind of coddled through it. Dave, how about you on that?
Yeah, no, I like how you are surrounding yourself in an environment that makes you better. I think that's huge. I think we talk a little bit about a lot on the podcast and how impactful it can be for yourself and your growth. Talk a little bit about how you talk a little bit about like people how you are true. Talk a little bit about how you check with yourself.
Cutting out a little bit there.
Yeah, Dave, I got you here. He said, how do you check on yourself when kind of, things aren't going well?
I think the biggest sign for me is just when I'm doing things that are just out of the normal for me, just in like my everyday life. Like if I'm getting up a little bit later in the mornings and I'm going to sleep later at night, and like my sleep schedule's changing and it's getting real bad, and maybe I'm not getting 3-4 meals a day. Like maybe I'm not doing the things that are like normal to do throughout your day, and those things are getting pushed off, or those things are getting, not done. I think for me, that's like the biggest sign of like, okay, let's take a step back and let's focus on getting in the right direction and feeling the way that, I'd like to feel. And like, I think it's just like taking care of like small things around me that like I do every day. And when those little things are off, there tends to be some form of, connection there as far as like the mental health aspect of it.
Yeah, when you get out of that routine, it starts to get more clutter, man. That's when things get crazy for me. I'm the same way. Like the fog sets in, I start getting a little angry, I start getting a little bit sad about things.
Yeah.
I don't like when my world is kind of, I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but out of the normal. I kind of like normal. I kind of like doing my business. So I know you're very similar with that too. I got to go into this too, because now obviously you're coaching, right? But I don't want to go into that too quickly. I want to talk about your college career, because you went through some stuff as a college ball player. Enlighten our audience on that and kind of what you went through.
I was a late bloomer guy, I would say. Like, I didn't really focus on things until, I was a senior in high school, and then I went into college, a JUCO guy, and it was challenging. I had a year and a half of, I guess, eye-opening experiences when it came to baseball and the people around me, and then a quick story, but after that I had a full spinal reconstruction and a giant surgery that again was eye-opening, and then COVID hit that next year. So that
just
was
like, no, CJ, just normal stuff, bro. Just normal
stuff, like 2 years and no baseball, and then cut back to JUCO again, and then I played JUCO and finished out my career at a D2 basically. But I definitely have ran into a ton of challenges and things that have, I guess, not necessarily put me behind, but have made me feel that way and have forced me to grind through it and just, attack.
And CJ, you're 25 years old, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You've gone through a lot of things that athletes at 25 years old shouldn't be going through. You went through the pandemic, you went through the back surgery, you went through countless setbacks, adversity, all this stuff in your playing career early on. You got athletes out there right now that are on their last straw, man. They're done with this. They don't want to do this anymore. You got people that have big injuries. You got people that got parents that are passing away, various setbacks. What would you tell them to help them get through it?
I would just say, like, you know, you do this, and if you really love it, like this, you know, if this is something that you care about, then there are ways to get past whatever you're going through. Like, you know, whether it's I put this off for, you know, a week or a month or a year or whatever it is that you need to, like, make sure you are okay. That's the most important, you know. But if you love it and it's something that you want to do for the rest of your life or for however long, then I think it's worth pushing through and, like, still grinding it out and trying to get to where you want to be. I mean, I think that's what it was for me. Like, I knew when my doctor told me, like, hey, you can get a surgery now and maybe you'll be healthy in 6 months to a year, or you can get it when you're 40 and it's going to be absolutely terrible for you. Like, it's going to hurt so bad. And I remember looking at my dad after I got the surgery and looking at him and going, like, I'm literally never going to play baseball ever again. Like, it was a tough realization when I got that surgery and I was laying in that bed and I couldn't move, that I was like, hey, I'm never gonna play again. And I still remember that feeling of just like this is the craziest thing that's happened to me ever. Like, I've never experienced anything like this or felt any pain like this, or I've been an athlete my entire life and now I'm in a bed where I literally can't move. Like, I'm stuck here. And it was like that for 3 months, and I was certain that I would never ever swing a baseball bat, and I did 3 months after that. So it's like you never know, and you just got to keep staying the course and just grinding it out. If you really love it, it's worth it, you know. And it's tough. Like, it is tough. Everyone's situation is different, and it's, you know, it's not easy. I'll say that. Like, life and it's not easy. So you got to keep pushing, and it's just that simple.
Yeah, man, I'm so happy you talked about that. Because I'm sitting here and Dave, this was before you jumped out with me. My brother's girlfriend, McKenna Davidson, was an NAIA track runner, and she went through this same surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember on her episode, she talked about, I just got to do what I can do. I just got to make sure I'm the best self. What can I do mindset in comparison to what I couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's strong to see you now at 25, back healthy. And we'll talk about this later on, but back working with kids, back shining that light now, saying, hey, you can go through the dark times, but you're going to get out of this. And I'm going to be a kind of a survival guy for those kids. Dave, what do you got there?
Yeah. You guys got me?
Yep, I got you now, brother. You're live. Yep.
Bounce off that, it's easy to look into the future, like very far into the future. Although I think it's a good thing to look into the future, if you want good things, you want a good future, you want to set yourself up, you still have to focus on today. And what are you going to do today to set yourself up for the future? That's
yeah. If you say process oriented, man, it makes this life a lot easier. If you keep sitting there waiting for the future, waiting for that last thing, man, like, it's just not going to work out that way. While I'm on that train of thought, I do want to ask you your keep going moment. I know we talked about the back surgery already. What is something, if it's the back surgery, expand on it. If it's something else, what is your keep going moment?
I think it was really that for me. Like, I think it was a decision that was big enough that it impacted my life for a very, very, very long time. Like, it wasn't even just like the surgery itself. It was just like the whole process and like it's so hard to explain, Pat. And
Yeah,
like,
dude. You do it.
like,
Yeah, do your thing, bro.
Like, it humbled me in so many ways, Pat, to like just have that feeling, to just understand that, like, again, like, I thought I had it great, and, you know, it could always be worse. Like, I've never experienced an injury in my life. Like, I never experienced anything that set me back as far as an athlete. And then to go from that to just a complete cut open of the back and, you know, metal rod in the spine. Like it was insane to have such a big surgery be like my first ever injury. And I think to come back from that, and, you know, I did it in 6 months, which wasn't what I was supposed to do. I did it in 6 months, and to play for 2 weeks after an entire year of that, and then COVID hit, and then have another entire year off of baseball. I think it gave me also perspective on just what I wanted in life. Like, I had 2 years of a sport that I wasn't playing, that I had worked so hard for, and then it was like, okay, what do I have other than this? Like, what makes me happy other than baseball? The thing I spent my entire life chasing and nothing else. So it allowed me to just find other things that I love in life and like that I care about, and spend more time with family. Like, I had been away in college and wasn't coming back for, you know, a very long time, didn't plan on it. And it brought me back to, you know, being the oldest of 6 siblings and going to see my family and spending more time with them and just caring about things more other than what I was doing in that present moment. So,
yeah. 2-part question for you. 1, besides your family, who else was there for you during that time? And 2, would you change anything?
At the time, and, you know, I tell my friends this all the time because I really don't tell them enough. Like, they were very big supporters, you know, for me. Like, I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't leave my bed. You know, my friends would make sure they knock on my door, come visit, and, you know, ask my mom at the time, like, hey, can I come in and stand next to CJ and talk to him? Like, you know, and like, it's not easy to see it. It's not easy to see a guy that you've known your whole life and like moving around and just laying in the bed like that, like not really being able to speak much or not being able to talk much, to, you know, have a conversation. But they didn't care. Like, they, you know, I told them, like, I might not have said much, but I was very aware and I was very there. So, like, you guys are great people for doing that for me, man. Because, you know, you go to the doc, and Pat, I don't know how deep I can really get into it. Like,
I want you to be you, bro. You keep going.
You fucking sorry. Pat,
you good. You good.
Bro, you take 8 different pills. You take 8 different whatever the doctor gives you. Like, you're drugged up for literally the entire day. Like, it was the most insane experience of my life. I was having conversations that I didn't know what words were coming out of my mouth. And my friends, you know, still would, whether they were in the room and I was yelling at them, screaming at them because they were too loud or whatever it was that was just angering, like making me angry at that moment in time. Those guys stuck by me like through everything. I can't even stress it enough. Like, whether it was standing next to me for an hour just to stand there, like, those are things that I can't, and, you know, I don't ever know how to repay those guys ever for doing that for me emotionally.
Man.
Like,
I'm about to say, I'm crying here, man. I think it's one of those things where you don't know who's got your back until your back's against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the chills because when you started talking about this whole conversation just changed. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how in depth I can be, Pat. That was one of the crazy. Like I said, I never experienced any form of that. I twisted an ankle. Okay, it was okay. Like, I never broke anything. And to go from that, and then they stripped me down like 50 pounds. Like, they cut me open. Cracked the spine, lined it back up, tightened it, like vertebrae, needles in between them. Like, And
it was different.
It was different. It was different. And to wake up with my back on fire and not feel a thing, like not feel anything but that, I can't repay those guys enough. I really can't. The pain is one thing, but the mental wear of that surgery and then coming back from that, I can't. And, you know, obviously my mom and family, like, I can't repay them ever for mentally what they did for me. It's something. So,
go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
Going off that, what would you tell someone that is maybe with some self-doubt in their life?
I think everyone doubts themselves, right? Like everyone at some point doesn't believe that they have whatever it takes to do what they're doing. Like everyone doubts themselves, but I think like preparation and time and just like how much effort you put into things and you get rewarded for that. Like if there's self-doubt, you have to have the preparation and like the willingness to want to get things done in order to not have that doubt. You know, like I don't have doubt about something that I prepared myself for a long time, or I have been working towards for a long time. I think if you put in the work and you put in that preparation to do whatever you are doing, I think that self-doubt kind of goes away as you get more comfortable with how well you are going to perform. That just means you're ready. Like you're ready to go for whatever it is.
Yeah.
And going on that, going back to what you have done, what you have accomplished, you know you've gotten through a challenge or some type of adversity before that you've self-doubted, go back to the person like you are.
Yeah. I'm due for one of these every podcast, CJ, but I'll go on a little rant real quick. I think if you don't feel that, you're dead, man. If you don't feel those nerves, those butterflies, if you don't feel that, you don't care about what you're doing. But you feel better the more you prepare. Richard Jurgen, man, our first ever episode, I saw that man go speak, sleep on the futon in his garage working so hard, go speak again. It's like if you leave no doubt in your preparation, you're going to go out there like every time is that first time. And that's a beautiful thing about what we get to do. And I want to transition into coaching because I know when Joe came on this, shout out Joe, shout out the guy.
Shout out Joe.
When Joe came on this podcast, the first thing everybody said was, that's kind of cool, but like, when is Coach CJ coming up? And I said, you know what? Truthfully, I haven't got there yet, man.
Yeah.
We know, Dave, we're booked till March, man. Like, this is a blessing we get to have this platform. What does coaching mean to you, and what have these kids meant to you?
Pat, it's like unbelievable because like I never saw myself coaching, like ever. As much as I played baseball, like I never thought I would coach or train or do anything like that. And I think it's the best thing I've ever done. Like I can't even. It's the idea of giving players what I just didn't have. Like having a coach around me that cares the way I care. I wish I had that at a young age. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. Like I'm trying to give every single athlete that I work with or I see or that walks through our door the best chance to accomplish whatever they want in life. And, you know, it doesn't have to be playing college baseball. It doesn't have to be playing past that. Like it could be anything in life. Like I want to leave the kids with just that idea that if you're going to get after something in life, if you want to do something in life, then you have to go get it. And that's like everything. Like you have to go out and get it. There is no being laxed or just like letting things go by. Like I want everyone I work with to understand, like when you put in the work, good things usually follow. Now, what does it mean to put in that work? And with me with coaching, like I think that's the biggest thing. Like having that understanding at a young age is so crucial to just developing and accomplishing things in life. Having that maturity at a young age to go and like, hey, I have this responsibility and I got to get it done. And I think like that's what I try and push on like athletes that come into our building. You know?
Dave, he's got that speaker mode right now. Like this is where CJ starts getting rolling, man. This is good right now. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, it's that taking action. You gotta put forward and put the work in, like you said. Absolutely. And
I love it.
It will pay off if you believe in yourself. You keep on putting that work in, and it might take time. It might not be the time where you want it to be, but it will happen eventually.
Yeah. Whether it's a week or a month or a year or 2 years, like it don't matter. Like again, if you care enough and you want it, shouldn't matter how long it takes. Like you get after it. That's life in general.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
have to attack everything that you do. No one's going to hand you anything. Being lucky is luck. Like not everyone's lucky. So like you have to go out there and you have to go get it, and don't leave anything on the table. I think it's just that simple. Don't leave anything on the table.
Yeah. And social norms will try to tell you that you should be married by 25, house by 28, 401k by no. No. What it comes down to is the goals that you set and you showing up for yourself and for your people.
Yes.
And if you could do that, you could look back on life 50, 60 years ago, or 50, 60 years from now, and look back and say, I did this how I wanted to do it. Leave no stone unturned.
I think that's the best part of it, Pat. Like looking back and going like, hey, I did what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And the only way you do that is if you get after it every single day and attack life that way. There's no other way.
I like that mirror feeling, man. Like I really do this. Like I really do this. Like this is what I get to do every single day, and I do it to the best of my ability. Love that.
It really is.
Let's do this. Well, we're looking up at that 29-minute mark. I know CJ's got to make the trek in, obviously, here for this open gym coming up. Dave, I want to go rapid fire questions, and we'll wrap up today. All right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. What are some small changes someone can make right now to help them?
What was the last part of that? Cut out a little bit.
What are some small changes that someone can make to help them?
Yeah, I still don't got the last part of that, Dave.
Yeah, mentally, small changes.
Small changes mentally. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I think it kind of goes along the line of just making sure that like your everyday routine stays the same. Like I think that's a big part of it. Like I think like if you wake up in the morning and you take a shower every morning and you eat breakfast every morning and you're an early guy that gets up, like you maintain that and you just keep a routine, because it's just what's best for like your body, like in you mentally. Like you need to have some form of a routine, and then I think it's as far as just like making sure that the people around you also are like-minded. I think if you put people around you that are like-minded, I think that goes a long way for you.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Well, of course, I'm going a different direction here. I asked this question last week. We had a guy on from Palatine.
Yeah.
The best MSL athlete in your time in high school, any sport, any conference, any school?
I'll just go with a local guy. Like, it's got to be Cole Kmet. Like, I'll go to a local guy. It's got to be like a Cole Kmet, or definitely probably best athlete around me at the time, for sure.
Yeah, I like that, man. I think Cole Kmet was a dog growing up like 5-10 minutes from us. Go ahead, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to share today? A message for our audience?
I would just say for like young viewers, like, we were talking about this the other day, Pat, like all the cliches that people say, like all the, people older than you, they give you advice and yada, yada, yada. And, you don't listen to it at a young age. I'll just say like all that stuff is true. Like the people older than you, they've experienced it, they've done it. And there's a reason that they can give you their opinion on it, because they've been there and they've done that. So I'd say like, as far as, for the young viewers, like all that stuff is true, man. You listen to the older guys, you listen to the people that have been there and done that. And that really can guide you in a positive way in life if you understand that at a young age.
Yeah, man. Success leaves clues, boys. Mm-hmm. And the guys that have got there and the guys that have gone through it, they understand kind of what that roadmap is. Yeah. I love that. CJ, last thing, man. We've done this for 100+ episodes now, which is incredible.
Same,
but it's crazy. But why I say that is we've made our share of mistakes too. We didn't really give our flower moment much. We didn't really ask our guests what we could do for them. I want to give you your flowers, man, and what you've meant in my life and what you mean to our facility. And I also want to ask you how we can help you moving forward, man. That's my question.
Oh, honestly, I think you giving me the opportunity to do something like this, Pat, was interesting to me. Like the mental health, like, is the point of it, right? Like I've never have done anything like this or very rarely do I stop and like really like have this conversation with somebody like, how are you doing today? Like not on just a basic level, just like on in deeper scale. Like, are you okay? You know what I'm saying? I think like having this podcast with you and like just like what it means and like the whole idea of it, you gave me a moment that was like, let me stop and let me think and like how is everything going? And I think that helped me tremendously, even from the moment you told me we were gonna do this. You know what I'm saying?
It's awesome.
So like
Yeah, man.
I think what you're doing is great, dude. Like I really do. Like it's important, and I just hope people keep jumping on and tagging along because it is great. Seriously.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate the love there, and I appreciate the support. I appreciate you jumping on early. And I think when you have guys like me and Dave doing this stuff every week, we're blessed to have this platform. We really are. It's been a life-changing thing for me. Dave, you cap us off, man. Let's go home.
Yeah, CJ, thanks for coming on. Thanks for shining some light. Story. I know you've been today, Pat, and many others. Thanks for coming on, sharing your story. Keep going.
Keep going, boys. I love y'all.
appreciate
CJ,
you,
I'll
boys.
see you in a bit. I appreciate you, boys, and let's represent the rest of the Sunday. Go Bears. Bear down.
Yes,
Bear
sir.
down. Later, guys.
Later.